Excuse me.
Now, question is it hidden in plain sight?
Yeah. What is?
Hidden in plain sight.
This is news to me. Hidden in plain sight.
And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad.
Please stay tuned.
Hold it now, wait.
Please wake up.
So I want to share with you some pretty surprising GMO foods that you may have never heard about. But before I do, I want to share something with you. This morning when I had my breakfast, I always like to read labels. So I noticed that this product had 2 grams of fat per serving size, which is incredible. But good thing it had 0 cholesterol. But if you scroll down, it has this very interesting new term I want to share with you. It says contains bioengineered food ingredients. I don't know if you can see that. Probably can't see that. Bioengineered food ingredients. What the heck is that all about? So the definition of bioengineered food ingredients is this: food that contains detectable genetic material that has been modified through certain lab techniques that cannot be created through conventional breeding or found in nature. Now, a few years ago, food manufacturing companies were a little concerned that GMOs were going to be labeled on their products because Vermont and a few other states passed laws that now had to label products with GMOs. And just so you know, GMOs are basically foods that they've altered the DNA, the genetics. And food manufacturing companies were concerned that more and more states would legalize or pass laws to reveal what foods were genetically modified versus which ones weren't. So they had a very, very bright idea. They came up with a new term called bioengineered ingredients. It sounds different than GMO foods. The branding shows this wonderful sun on these great crops with this little plant growing. So it seems very, very safe and healthy. But basically, bioengineered products are another name for GMOs. It pretty much bypassed the GMO labeling problem that they had. Now, if we again look a little closer at the definition of bioengineered food ingredients, it says food that contains detectable genetic material. Okay, detectable. Here's the problem. When you process a food, especially when you ultra process a food, like in 70% of all the refined foods out there, this genetic material falls below the radar. GMOs are not detectable in some of these really ultra refined products because they're using chemicals and high heat and pressure and solvents to basically break down these GMO products so small that they're undetected. So what does that mean? It means that if the more processing you do to a product, the more you can get rid of the traces of GMO. So they don't have to be labeled as bioengineered food ingredients. Whereas if they had GMO labeling, if they came from a GMO product, they would have to put it on the label. So it's actually an ingenious way to hide GMO in products below the radar. And on top of that, these companies don't even have to use the term bioengineered food ingredients. They can instead, they can use either a QR code, that little barcode that gives a lot more information about a product, that little code that you have to scan with your cell phone, or a phone number that you have to call to get more information if this product was bioengineered or not. So the question is, who has time to scan this barcode or call the number? And most customers, probably 99% of all customers, don't have a clue of what the term bioengineered food ingredients really means. And so now you know what it means. And I really appreciate if you can spread this video to your friends and family far and wide so more and more people can understand what this new term is. All right, let's go back to the main reason for this video, which are surprising GMO foods that you may be eating that you may want to consider not eating. All right, number 1, yellow squash. Okay, that is GMO. Now, realize if you're having organic yellow squash, it's not going to be GMO. All right. Number 2, beets. Like the vast majority of beets, especially in the US, probably 95% of them are GMO. And that is where we're getting our sugar from as well. So if something says sugar on the label, chances are it's from beets, and chances are it is GMO sugar. All right, number 3, papaya is GMO. Number 4, eggplant is GMO, unless it says non-GMO or organic. All right, number 5, green zucchini is GMO, right? Unless it says organic. And number 6, certain apples are GMO. And number 7, which is most surprising, salmon is GMO. Now, if it says wild caught salmon, it's not going to be GMO, but certain farm raised salmon is GMO. So this is just another reason why to choose organic if possible. But if you don't have organic available, at least as a bare minimum, do the non-GMO. But there's some real interesting information about what non-GMO really means.
Check. 1 2 1 2. Vessel 1. What say you?
Woo. I mean, as the doc scrolled down the list, each item became more and more surprisingly interesting as found as GMO. You know, I like beets, and then it's supposed to be healthy for you to maintain a proper diet. It's supposed to cleanse your blood, and also help maintain people who's have diabetes or high blood pressure. Be supposed to help you. But if they're GMO now, and that they're using the sweeteners for the sugar, that says a whole lot, honestly. Papaya, unfortunately, we don't have much papaya in Japan. I know there was papaya and guava juice very popular in America, but we have more mangoes, and they're importing more mangoes. But papaya is another supposedly healthy fruit that's supposed to maintain your diet with high blood pressure and diabetes and cirrhosis of the liver. It's supposed to help you. Eggplant, I'm not really an eggplant fan. So, I mean, I was okay missing, but eggplant also, people like to have it. Zucchini, and apple a day supposed to keep the doctor away, and you got some GMO apples. Wow. And for those who are trying to stay away from red meats and eating need protein, it's supposed to be a good source of omega-3 and healthy fats. If you don't watch out, eating GMO fish, that says a lot. I mean, just running down the list. What say you, Vessel 2?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. This list is a little bit shocking. Yellow squash, to me, that was a new one, shocking. Right off the bat, papaya, I already knew that was more or less GMO. Eggplant, I know in the Indian custom, I'm referring to India, the country, they say eggplants are poisonous. So I kind of stopped eating eggplants a long time ago for that reason. But to find out they're GMO is new to me. That's kind of shocking. They didn't say, in India, they don't say they were GMO, but they just said they had, over time, it builds up toxins in your body. Like you, zucchini, yeah, I'm a zucchini fan, actually. I recently purchased a air fryer, and I was chopping up zucchinis and kind of using the air fryer to cook them. So that's definitely out. The beets, yes, the beets is shocking because, as you mentioned, it does help with diabetes, but also beets are a good source for nitro. That's a energy booster. So yeah, that's kind of out, a natural source of your energy boosting power. And then the apples, I was always on the borderline with apples simply because living where we're at, we have the pear apples.
Right, the nashi. Yeah.
Right, so those are GMO, so that the apple, it doesn't really surprise me. Coming from the States, apples, that doesn't really surprise me, because if you think about it, it was promoted once as something healthy, but manipulation is vast, so to poison something healthy just seems like the norm now. And then salmon, I was under the impression that a lot of salmon now is produced on farms. So
Right.
that's not healthy. And I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, there was a report saying that a lot of salmon that they were producing in the farms ended up with herpes.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, so salmon has kind of been on my radar for a while as something that you gambling with. And I think in Japan now, a lot of the salmon is coming from Chile.
Right.
And I don't know how it's grown, if it's farm or fresh. And then I heard also Norwegian salmon has issues as well. And I think that is farm bred salmon. So yes, this is it's a good update and it's shocking. But what really shocked me about this video, to be honest with you, is this doctor had a box of Fruit Loops.
Yeah. Tricks. Yeah, I don't have to.
It was tricks.
Yeah, it was tricks.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just seen the color. I thought it was Fruit Loops, but that's what got
look,
my attention.
thing,
Like, what?
Yeah.
Why is this doctor got a book? Okay, I thought, we already knew that cereal was bad for you. So
Yes.
if this doctor is eating cereal and just now figuring out that it's bad for you, then me and this doctor need to have a conversation.
I'm not making any excuses, but I think overall it was his point to point out the BMF, the bioengineered source, and that's the way. I guess that was his segue to do so. The main thing is the bioengineered food, and it's another way of doing GMO, and that's terrible.
Right.
And
off of his list, what he is missing is lettuce. They said last year that the lettuce is going to be somehow, some way enhanced with the spike protein. So that's GMO, and they're trying to make sure you get spike protein via injections or in food substances now. So lettuce should be on this list too as a food to be watched out for.
And that's great that you brought that up, because that is exactly was the next video that I was going to share with the audience, the people out there in podcast land.
Could plant-based vaccines save the world? Scientists say rice, corn, potatoes, or lettuce can be used to produce antibodies.
It's a kind of complex process which starts by the procedure that infects them with foreign DNA, genetic material that reprograms them to stop doing everything else and just make one protein, recombinant protein, which is a medicine that we want to produce.
Biotech firms are already in clinical trials with their plant-based drugs or awaiting approval from health agencies to combat Ebola, the norovirus, and COVID-19.
I'm Ben Fazulin. This isn't just about pleasing vegans. A plant-based COVID jab would be cheaper and quicker. And instead of using hamster ovaries or monkey kidneys, you can use veggies or even tobacco.
The plants being grown inside this greenhouse could form the basis of a new COVID-19 vaccine. The Nicotiana benthamiana, to give it its proper name, is currently the focus of a study by Canadian biotechnology company Medicago and Britain's GlaxoSmithKline. 20,000 people are taking part in the trial. It's the first time a plant-based vaccine has been...
What are your findings after listening to this clip, Vessel 2?
I'm kind of scared to even think about taking a plant-based anything now, man. They going bonkers.
Yeah, it seems like everything that's happening or what they're doing is dealing with plant-based. So I'm not sure what to think about this, but I know that it's important to bring this news to the forefront. That's for sure.
It's part of their agenda. It's, you know, who controls the food supply is, you know, who controls who's going to live or die.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. That's what it's all about.
And you know, we got Mr. Gates in charge of that sector of the world, GMO and seeds, and he owns the most farmland in America.
Yeah, that's correct. That is totally correct.
It's scary. Recommendation though, before it's too late, try to secure some heirloom seeds, and go back to as much as possible sprouting your own food, fresh foods, stocking up on nuts and seeds, walnuts, pecans, all the healthy nuts. This is not good in any way, shape, or form, the direction we're going in.
No, I totally agree. And it seems like every year it gets worse, and there's more things that's out there that they're genetically modifying or bioengineering.
Right.
So, and if I'm not mistaken, it's almost illegal to have your own garden, right? To produce your own vegetables.
Some places, yeah, some states, I know that's, you know, you can't have a farm or a garden in your backyard or your front yard. In some states, it's illegal to catch rainwater.
Yes, I was surprised about that. What's going on? It's falling from the sky. It's free.
It's not yours. Put it back.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that kind of threw me off. Like, you can't have rainwater? What is that about?
Some state, I know in definitely Virginia is one of those states. You can't collect the rainwater. And I don't know the penalty if you get caught or anything like that, but I know it's something you're not supposed to do according to their rules and regulations. So, yeah, man, I just don't know when and how people are going to unifiably come together and stop complying.
Yeah, it's gotta be a line drawn in the sand somewhere, because it's the more that you not speaking about things that's really it's unconceivable. I mean, like you just mentioned, rainwater. You know, they used. I remember my great grandmother. She would set a pot out and let the snow fall and make ice cream. And so if you can now, if you dare to gather rainwater, and that's quote unquote illegal, I'm not sure if it's illegal or there's a penalty there about that. But it, I mean, it's what's next? You can't breathe. You got to pay a penalty to breathe.
It's coming.
I mean, this stuff is supposed to be for, this is nature. This is free. So I don't understand it.
That's the agenda. You will own nothing and be happy about it.
Yeah, but I'm right now. I'm not happy about not collecting rainwater. I mean, although it sounds like a small gripe, but I mean, if people are going to let this, let them dictate little things like this, I mean, you basically giving up total rights of a human being. So I don't know, man. It's a very
they say it's a quote. If you give up your rights for or if you give up your liberty for rights, then you have nothing. So
yeah.
I think more or less, yeah, it's a comfort. People don't want to go against the grain, so they just go along to get along, and we all suffer at the hands of people who end up snitching on others who don't go along to get along. And
yeah,
I think the biggest war yet to come is going to be the water wars.
Oh, like like the movie Waterworld,
right?
Or Mad Max.
That's the biggest war yet. Is when they go ahead and totally just cut off the water supply and try to regulate it from their side of the fence.
Wow. Yeah, that's and that time I'm hoping that we're not around, to be honest. I hope it's not coming that soon, but if it goes that route, I can't see myself, that's just a little bit too much, some heads have to roll. I see it as that,
Public announcement
people,
tonight's news, and they were talking about a water shortage in Japan.
And they got Ukrainians coming over, and they got a water shortage. Okay, all right.
The water shortage, they're working on it, but more or less, this is not the first time I've heard about there's a possible water shortage. The dams are not building up enough water. So I don't know how far off it is, but I can see it happening. These governments want to control. I'm not saying that Japan's government is controlling the water, but globally, it is a push to control as much resources as possible. So I can see us in a water situation deficit where we are in long, massive lines just for water.
As we mentioned yesterday on First Edition, the world's first plant-based coronavirus vaccine is showing positive results. Pharmaceutical companies Medicago and GlaxoSmithKline studied 24,000 adults across 6 countries and found the overall efficacy rate of the vaccine candidate was 71%, rising to 75.3%. The study used Medicago's plant-based vaccine in combination with GSK's pandemic adjuvant. It's an ingredient that works to boost the immune response and efficacy of other vaccines. What does it all mean? Dr. Salim Sarani joins us live to discuss more. Dr. Sarani, when I sent this story to you, you were kind of like, that's interesting. What were you able to determine? And a plant-based vaccine sounds it just sounds interesting and also awkward to me.
Good morning, John Thomas. Glad to be here. The reason is I say it's interesting because, it's been 20 years Medicago has been working on different type of plant-based product to booster the immunity, and plant-based product has been very near and dear to a lot of the folks who are vegan or vegetarian, and they don't want anything or a genetic component. But what it does is that they does some genetic modified plants, like even they can take a potato or a carrot, and then they try to form a protein which is like an antigen, and that antigen kind of looks like a viral antigen, and when it's given to the body perceives it's a virus, and then it starts forming antibody. So in other words, what it does is it's try to form a shell or a core which looks like virus, but it does not have any genetic product inside. It's just the plant. So that, when the core is given to the patient or person's body, it perceives, oh, that's a virus which is attacking, and then they form the antibody. So I think it's a very good step forward. We saw the messenger RNA-based technology coming in. And second thing is this is now plant-based. So this is going to open up a long era of the products and vaccines which can come out that way. The advantage is that, it's plant-based, so it doesn't cause too much of side effect. It can be stored in a normal temperature, and that can be a very, very helpful, especially in reaching out to the rural areas or developing countries where cold chain technology is not that good, and then they can be stored with a much longer duration.
And it can be produced in larger amounts at a cheaper cost. The next question, the way I'm going to phrase it, I don't want to be misleading. Is this a safer alternative to other vaccines? Not saying those vaccines aren't safe, but I think you mentioned something about some of the side effects are reduced with said plant-based vaccines.
That is something, we need to see. On the preliminary, what we saw in the press release, they did not mention anything red flag. It means that the side effects were really very minimal. And on the other hand, I think, we just need to see more data. But again, it's an exciting technology. It's an exciting breakthrough. And it's just a giant step forward in the armamentarium in which we have it. So I think we know that those can be used for boosting immunity. So not only for vaccine, it can be used for patients with an immunocompromised status. And we know that there are a lot of grandmas who have always told us, if you're ill, you take this. If you're sick, you take this. And now you're trying to get those type of proteins build up and produce in a more augmented and large amount of fashion. And that can be a game changer for a lot of the conditions and illnesses.
And it's important to note that they did say this vaccine is given in 2 doses, 21 days apart. Dr. Sarani, we do appreciate your time.
That was scary. I still don't understand why we just can't eat the vegetables. If they're supposed to be healthy for us, we should just be able to eat them to help our immune system be equipped to fight off any type of outside intrusions in the form of a virus. But yeah, that video was totally confusing to me, and it was hard to follow because I'm thinking to myself, what happened to just grandma's chicken soup?
Yeah, well, that's the pinnacle question that needs to be asked, and from all the information that we have now been presented and that we received, and the information of what they're thinking, they don't care about those like the doctor said, people who's vegan or vegetarian, or that's trying to eat healthy. This is not for you. This is already for the people who have taken the vaccine, that need to continue to have the vaccine to be ingested or taken, and anybody else that didn't take the vaccine, you're gonna take it anyway. And that's what it's there for. If you didn't get it the first go round, they're definitely gonna try to give it to you one way or the other. So I mean, it is a scary thing. So unless people stand up and talk, this is coming, and it's coming soon, and a lot of the people that we listen to or we deal with, especially like Sean Anthony or Dr. X or any other alternative news that's talking about how this vaccine is affecting people. They are right there in your face, as we just saw. these scientists and people are finding alternative ways to get you one way or the other, just like crack, or just like we did the videos of brainwashing and such. You know, they're always trying to manipulate and try to steer people into what their agenda is about.
Said. Well said.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really time for us as as people of the free generation. We're the last of the Mohicans in that sense. We need to really stop with the nonsense. Stop with this this culture ignorance and critic race theory and all these other things that's been keeping us from focusing on what the true nature is. And the true nature is to actually, like you said many times before, get back to nature. And I'm thankful for you, Vessel too, for being here and also presenting things that need to be shown. So yeah, it's important. It's really important to take heed.
Likewise, Vessel One. And to all those who are out there listening and following us, we appreciate you. You can reach us at hipsnews6@gmail.com. Once again, that's hipsnews6, the number 6, @gmail.com. Let us know what you think. If we're on to something, we appreciate your comments. If we're off in any kind of way, please let us know. Until next time, peace.
Peace.